everyone! So what I thought I'd talk about today, since it's kind of topical, is freshers and my experience as a fresher. I might turn this into a series, I might not. Stay posted or have a look in the description below and I'll update you as to what I've decided about whether this will be a series or a one-off. But today in this video I wanted to talk about 5 things that I loved and 5 things that I regret about freshers and being a fresher, like the year in general, not just the week, to clarify that. So one of the things that I really loved was just throwing myself into something completely new. For me, that was rowing. I'd never rowed before. I wouldn't even consider myself a sporty person. I wasn't in a sports team at school, kind of avoided sports. In fact, during the whole of IB, the only sports I did was like the minimum required for CAS, which is Creativity Action Service, if you didn't know. But then I found rowing and it was just something that everyone had a habit of trying, and I thought, you know what, why not just stick with it? It's nice to do a sport, get a way to meet people and socialise. So I really enjoyed just trying something completely new, and because others were doing that as well and trying something new from scratch, I didn't feel like I was overwhelmed or out of my depth, even though at times it was quite hard, like, oh gosh, I actually need to do some, like, get back into shape and stay fit. But in the end, I think it was good for me. And I really enjoyed finding a new hobby. Another thing that I really loved doing was cooking with flatmates. So I was catered, and as a change and just to get the feeling of homemade food, I mean, you can't really beat that. And a sense of community, I think it was a really nice change on some occasional nights, maybe like once a fortnight when we would cook. Often one person would be in charge and like choose the meal and do the bulk of the cooking, and others would stand around and help. And I think that was a really nice way to connect with people. I mean, you can talk in a catered dining hall, but it's a more kind of intimate, secluded environment. And it was just really nice to kind of feel, yes, we've made this meal from scratch. It was cheaper than it would have been if we ate food from elsewhere. And it's a really nice, quiet way to have a night in with friends. Another thing that I really loved was taking lots of videos throughout the term. So if we were going out or if we were playing a board game, I might just take a quick 5-second video of the room, or if someone was saying something or doing something funny, some strange cartwheels on the lawn. I won't say too much about that. Just recording lots of little moments, and then at the end of term I would create a video with some music in the background, just mushing all of them together, and send it to everyone who was featured in them. So I thought that was quite a nice way to sum up the term and wrap up the memories. I mean, of course you can print photos, which is lovely as well, but I quite like the aspect of the sound of the videos, and it really helps you bring back the feeling of term, which is especially useful now because obviously it's quite sad that we're not back, and having the videos is a really nice reflection. If you're interested in the videos, there's quite a lot of people in them, but I might post them at some stage. We'll see. Another thing that I really loved was buying stash. So stash, merchandise, whatever you want to call it, really helped me get a sense of pride for the uni and felt like I belonged, kind of in a strange materialistic sense, brushed off the imposter syndrome. And it just felt like a nice uniform. You didn't need to worry about, oh, is this fashionable enough? Like, oh, I just woke up to my lecture. Doesn't matter, just throw on like a university hoodie. Also, it's very nice to lounge around in the house in when you're not at uni and just yearning to go back, so would recommend. The last thing that I really liked about being a fresher and would do again is kind of slightly related to Freshers Week. So one of the tips that I heard about Freshers Week was that you should leave your door open so that you can meet people. And this was really great. That helped me to make sure I knew everyone in my staircase. But then I also enjoyed leaving my door open generally throughout the whole term, just so that when people were coming upstairs, they might pop their head in, or I might call out, and we could just have a quick catch up. And it made me feel less lonely if I was doing some work in my room, and it was a nice way just to check in with people, because I'm one of those people who quite enjoys being around people. Often the presence of other people can help with my mood and make me feel more energetic, if that makes sense. So I really liked keeping my door open as much as I could throughout the term. Now we're going to move on to some things that I regret about first year, things that I wish I could have done more of. So the first one is meeting more people. I kind of wish that maybe I'd done joined some more societies that could have helped me meet random people. I could have been a little bit more sociable after lectures had ended, or approach strangers a bit more, in, like, for instance, in the club or in a pub. But I was kind of happier with the friends I already had, and I do, to a certain extent, wish that I might have met some more people. Just because you never know what might come out of any connections you have, and it's always nice to know a variety of different people. And in particular, moving on to my second point, is I wish I had developed more relationships with people in older years, because they often have access to cool resources and information, and they're just so knowledgeable and wise. So I do feel like I should have made some more connections with people not in my year, because most of the people that I made friends with were in my year, whereas I have some friends at Imperial, and I've heard about how the atmosphere there is really conducive to making friends in older years. And whilst I don't feel that necessarily is true for Cambridge, I do think you need to be proactive in, building your friendships with people in older years if that's what you're looking for. One of the ways that lots of people can meet people in the year above is through university family systems, and I would just really recommend nurturing those relationships that you get a chance to build with anyone in an older year. Another thing that I regret is signing up for too many emails at Freshers Week at the fair. I got a lot of spam that I really didn't want, and it was very hard to unsubscribe from. So be careful what you sign up for, and don't just be lured by loads of free pens. Another thing I regret is getting stressed really easily about work, letting it get me down and upset. I think it's quite easy to feel overwhelmed by the amount of work, but one of the things you can do to counter that is just to remind yourself that you made the grades, you're here for a reason, you're going to be okay, and maybe talking to people in your course, seeing that you're not alone in feeling slightly stressed out. There's no point wasting energy over getting stressed out when, in reality, there was no need for you to be stressed out in the first place. So I wish I'd been a bit more rational with my stress. Another thing that I regret is not getting an iPad sooner. I wanted to try out lots of different methods of taking notes in lectures, so I spent the first week writing down things on pen and paper, didn't like that. Next week I was using my computer, and I think it was only by the end of the third week that I realised that an iPad would be the most beneficial way for me, and that meant that my notes for the first 3 weeks of lectures were on a mixed multimedia spread of devices, and that was really frustrating to fix that. So I wish I would have sorted out and established how I want to take notes earlier. I'm not sure if there's a way that you can figure out how you like your lectures before it's hard to avoid going through the same situation that I did, but perhaps you could watch some online lectures, practice making notes, and get a sense of what you might like so you can try the methods you think will be most effective first. Finally, top tip that I regret doing is I wore my glasses out on a night out and they got smushed, and then I had to get them fixed and it was a nightmare. So never wear your glasses out, kids. So yeah, that's pretty much this video. I hope you liked it.